My name is Mike Batt, and I am the director of the Talent Initiative. It's a program here in Fairfax County that was launched just over 2 years ago and is 100% funded by the Fairfax County Board of Supervisors to help our companies recruit, retain, and upskill talent across the county and the region. We've developed a partnership with our peers across Northern Virginia and have created the Northern Virginia Economic Development Alliance. And I'll touch on those organizations and those across the region here shortly, but we appreciate you joining us here today and hope we provide some really good information for you across, in developing basically internships, apprenticeships, upskilling for your organizations. We have some great speakers lined up. So let's go to the next slide, and I'll really set the foundation for why we've brought this team together and these speakers and panelists to help. I don't think anything here is going to be new or surprising to you, but I thought I'd share the latest statistics that are out there on open jobs across Northern Virginia. This does not even include DC or Maryland. And you see there on the top left, that number 114,208. That's how many jobs are open right now. It's about 17% increase from last year. And a little tough to read there. We'll provide these slides out to everyone, but you see that the majority of those positions open are information technology, software developers, network and computers systems administrations, those looking for security clearance for our government contractors, which I know is a big portion of our business. So really to help our NVTC members and all of our companies and organizations and agencies here across Northern Virginia, we've brought together a speaker and panelist panel that with subject matter expertise to provide best practices, resources, and funding to help you fill your job requirements through internships, apprenticeships, and upskilling your existing workforce. So with that, let me bring on Catherine Cruz and introduce her. Catherine is the managing director with talent and organization at Accenture, with over 15 years of experience partnering with Fortune 500 clients to solve their talent and organizational issues. She's an expert in strategic change, agile organization, future workforce, culture transformation, leadership development, and employee engagement. She's also the executive sponsor at Accenture for the Greater Washington Apprenticeship Network. So we've asked Catherine to share benefits and best practices of developing apprenticeship programs. And I think there's no one better to deliver that messaging. So Catherine, let me turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mike, and good afternoon, everyone. Really excited to speak with you all today and share a little bit more about our experience with the apprenticeship programs and the benefits that we've experienced with it, rolling it out within Accenture and partnering with it with our local other organizations. As Mike just shared with the statistics, we know that the lack of quality talent, particularly even in the tech space, is top of mind for all CEOs right now. Our research shows that it's the top 3 concerns within organizations, primarily with over 75% of IT decision makers stating that they are currently dealing with a significant lack of tech skills within their organization. Another financial services company that's also based in Northern Virginia, end of 2021, released that they were hiring 3,000 additional technologists in the upcoming months, which just supports the statistics that Mike just showed around the great open job post on technology just in this area. So we know that demand for technology skills are higher than a lot of the companies, and those are on the call right now, can fill. So how do we broaden this opportunity to outside of just the traditional hiring sources? And that's where the apprenticeship programs comes in. So can you advance to the next slide, please? So what is an apprenticeship? And I think most of the folks on the call here is familiar with the concept. It's not a new concept, but it has been modernized to what employees are looking for now. And really at the core essence of it is an apprenticeship is an earn and learn model. It's with a strategic intent for making a candidate ready for a specific job. And when it works well is when it's a combined structured of learning and a structured learning plus on-the-job opportunities. It is paid on average. It's typically about 12 months, and it's employee driven based on specific jobs and roles that's needed. And why is apprenticeship programs working really well, particularly in the environment that we're in, right? It gives employees access to really highly motivated and productive talent sources that may not have the traditional 4-year college, but has the opportunity to learn the core skills that's needed. There's a tremendous amount of training programs out there that gets them to the skills that they're needed for the jobs that Mike just even posted, right? So as we think about those skills, there's plenty of opportunities to upskill and get the required technology skills that you would need to fill those jobs. It also gives companies an access to a diverse pool of talent, and gives this diverse group access to learning, training, top on job skills that they may traditionally not have gotten without this opportunity, whether that's because they don't have the 4-year college degree, or they may have just been displaced through various different circumstances in their life. It also gives companies the opportunity to get the talent skills that they need in a very flexible way, and when they need it. So it actually gives a lot, and I'll share some stories of how Accenture has leveraged these talent pools, but it gives us a lot of flexibility into the types of skill that you need and the timing that you need it. Like I said, it gives you access to a very diverse group of talent. So whether the motivation is to increase the specific pools of skills, but also to help the community that we're in, and also to ensure that we're also looking at an inclusive and diverse group of population as we're bringing them into the organizations that we're working. So tremendous amount of benefits, and I'll share some of these success stories that Accenture has had as well. So if we can advance to the next slide. So key considerations for companies that are thinking through building an apprenticeship program. One is it needs to have a real talent need in your organization. And based on the statistics that we're hearing, this should not be a problem. Having the support of your local environment, whether that's through the leadership within your organization, ensuring that this is the right approach from a broader talent strategy perspective, but then also the location. So whether that's, in specific cities within this area, but then also, perhaps expanding that into other cities where your organization is in, where you also need these particular talent pools. And then also the partnerships with educational programs, nonprofits, and through the Greater Washington Apprenticeship Program. The great thing is that this the structure and the partnership with the schools and the organization, the nonprofits are already there, and you can tap into that, which is so amazing. Next slide, please. All right, so 4 key critical steps as you're thinking about creating this apprenticeship model. One is, starting again back to what I said earlier, is really thinking about that vision. Like what is your company looking to achieve through an apprenticeship program, whether that's through broadening your talent source, targeting specific roles and skills that you're having challenges in, or maybe even thinking about roles and skills that you just need to have a different strategy. Like you don't need to have the traditional 4-year college degree. And then whether that's through also thinking about various different models with, whether that's through an I&D lens or just overall vision from a talent strategy perspective, because I do think that's really critical, because that drives steps 2, 3, and 4. So once you define that vision, really working with your HR group and the business functions to identify what are the specific roles that needs to be part of the apprenticeship program. And sometimes it helps to start small, right? You may want to pilot it with, hey, let's think about these 3 particular roles because they're our greatest need. We've had the biggest struggle in sourcing them. As we think about those skills, we have learning programs that we can have them plug into and get upskilled quickly, right? So as you think about where are the opportunities, what are the learning programs that they can plug into, if there are already structured programs within your organization as far as job shadowing or mentorship programs that they can plug into, even better. And then think about like, how are you going to really make this work? Whether that's, what is the compensation model, the duration, is it 12 months and then rotating into, making the job offer? What are different career paths? So, it could be, as you think about recruiting your apprenticeships, one big thing that, our research shows is that, people like flexibility. And is there flexibility into this apprenticeship program where there's a core set of skills, but that could feed into multiple different jobs within your organization? So as you get to know the apprentice, there may be different opportunities that you want to work with them on for your company. And then continuing to learn, test, get feedback from the apprentice, also from the business partners that are working with the apprenticeship, and how do you continue to refine the program and scale it within your organization. So I think that's the 4 key critical steps that we recommend that you think about as you're looking into building the apprenticeship model. Next slide. Okay. Apprenticeship at Accenture, and there's some more stats on the next slide, but overall, for us, it's a really important part of our talent strategy and our recruiting effort. 20% of our entry-level hires will be coming from our apprenticeship program, and we've had a significant amount of success in turning our apprenticeship into full-time careers for the apprentices. And 60% of our apprentices are diverse. We've had a great program because they are plugging into our existing mentorship, coaching, learning opportunities. So they just plug into the programs that we already have. We're not creating something specific for apprenticeships. We're treating them as if they're our employees. And again, our goal is that 20%, and right now Accenture is 700,000 globally. So 20% of entry-level hires going forward, our goal is to come from our apprenticeship program. And we're truly excited by that because we've had such great success and experiences from working with our apprentices. I'm just doing a time check to make sure I'm not going over. So with that, let me transition into, if you can just go back to slide before. I just want to share a little bit about the benefits, both for the apprentices plus from Accenture. So what we're hearing as we're, working with our apprentices is that they really appreciate just the opportunity. I think the feedback has been these are opportunities that they would not have gotten in traditional hiring methods in the past because they wouldn't have even been asked to apply. And the amount of upskilling, whether that's through cybersecurity, whether that's through cloud skilling, like highly coveted niche skills training that they are getting through the program. They also have the opportunity to work in a collaborative environment, work with teams, learn from leaders, get the mentoring and coaching from a diverse group of people within Accenture has been really helpful for them as they really think about, their career and how do they advance themselves. And then just the overall, connectedness and relationship building, which I think has been a big thing that, we've been hearing, particularly with the pandemic, is that people are really looking to connect with others in different ways that they haven't been able to, particularly coming out of the pandemic. So it's been really rewarding hearing their stories. And of course, it also helps Accenture because we get the opportunity to be connected to these talent sources that we haven't in the past. So can we advance to 2 slides? I just want to share some key statistics that we often get asked about our program. So, what are the things that our apprentices are working on? And there is a lot of different programs and functions that we've actually scaled it outside of just tech, but some specific ones is, large IT transformation, and that could be developer roles, business analysts, testers, IT test support, conversion analyst. They can be supporting application design, coding, analyzing data, helping with cybersecurity risk. And within that, they could be analysts, developers, and engineer architects. So just various different types of cybersecurity that's particularly even in the DC area. Program management, training, and communication. Like I said, there's apprenticeships within different functions. So as you can see here, we have IT, but then also HR, finance, operations, security. We've had programs even within our call centers. And then as far as, when people ask, like, hey, what are the type of qualities that you're looking for within your candidates? For us, the mentality of wanting to be in a collaborative environment, wanting openness to continuously learn. So while you may be learning a specific set of skills as let's just say, a business analyst, being open to other types of skills. So just that craving to always learn is really critical to us. And just, wanting to roll up the sleeves, openness, wanting to collaborate with other people, being able to be a problem solver and adaptable to other environments is going to be is really important to us, and where we've seen a lot of success turning the apprenticeship program into a full-time role, an employment role within Accenture. I believe I'm running out of time, but I'll be available also during the panel if there's any questions for me. If you are interested in joining the Greater Washington Apprenticeship Network, my contact information will also be shared as part of the slide. So feel free to reach out, and happy to brainstorm and figure out how we can make this work for you or answer any questions that you may have. So thank you again for the opportunity to speak with you all, and I'll be on through the panel.
Thank you, Catherine. That was great information to share. It's really insightful, and I love the stat. 20% of your entry-level hires are going to be coming through your apprenticeship program. So that's really a best practice for our companies and organizations here today. So appreciate you sharing that message. I think we're going to go to a poll question here now before we shift to our panel discussion. So the question we want to ask the attendees here today is, how likely are you to launch an internship or apprenticeship in 2022? I'll give you a few minutes to check the box there. While you're doing that, so the panel that we're going to have here now is really going to take the conversation that Catherine just had to the next level and providing some resources, funding programs out there to help you either get started with an internship program or advance and expand programs that you might already have. So we'll take another minute here and see what we're looking like, and ask to have the polls shared. Here you go. I'd like to see that. 59% likely. 6% unlikely. Hopefully through the panel discussions and understanding some of the resources out there here shortly, you'll find some opportunities to rally around the value prop of creating these type of programs. And for those not sure, at the 35% level, I think this panel that we're going to bring up here will really help bring some more line of sight into the opportunities out there for you. So with that, let's go ahead and close out the poll. And let me bring on Marissa Krafzig, that's going to lead the panel discussion for us. Marissa is the Vice President and Chief Human Resource Officer at Intellidyne, and has been with the company for close to 11 years. Under her leadership at Intellidyne, they have won numerous awards for top places to work, DE&I, work-life flexibility, and more. She's also the vice chair with me on the NVTC Filling the Tech Talent Gap community. And Marissa, let me turn it over to you now to introduce the panel and moderate the discussion.
Great, thank you, Mike, and thank you all for being here. I'm excited to introduce our panel. If you can move to the next slide, I'd like to introduce Crystal Thrower, who is the Registered Apprenticeship Consultant for the Virginia Department of Labor and Industry, Verna Brown, who is the Senior Workforce Consultant for ICF, as well as the lead for IT program, Mary Claire Kraft, who is the Manager Employer Outreach for George Mason University, and Dana Fallon, who is the Interim Director of Business Engagement and Career Services for the Northern Virginia Community College. Welcome, panelists. I'd actually like to continue the conversation about apprenticeship programs. So the first person I'd like to speak with is Crystal. Can you tell us a little bit about the Commonwealth's Registered Apprenticeship Program? And if you could speak a little bit about the benefits and how companies can participate.
Great. Thank you. Good. Thank you all for having us today. It is wonderful to be part of this panel. Registered apprenticeship has been a part of the Commonwealth for over 84 years. Most times people have thought of it as just working in the trades community, but we've expanded apprenticeship into the IT sector more than 3 years ago. And it has been beneficial across the state in areas through cybersecurity, software development. And in fact, one of our employers in the Tidewater region was the first cybersecurity apprenticeship organization across the United States. And he built a program that was adopted by the federal government. What we do at the Virginia Department of Labor and Industry over the past 16 years at this point, I'm only a few weeks shy of that. We develop programs that are earn while you learn, as Catherine shared, that companies use to bridge the gap that employers have between what we consider a journey worker to a new hire. So when we talk about journey workers, we're talking about competent employees that are able to do the work, but they're taking their mentor-mentee relationship with a new hire and providing them developmental skills to make them able to do competent work. The state agency is the registration agency in the Commonwealth of Virginia, while Accenture works probably directly with the Federal Department of Labor. Companies in the Commonwealth of Virginia work with our department. Unless you have are registered with 10 states, you are going to be working individually with state registration agencies. So I am one of 4 registered apprenticeship consultants in the Commonwealth in the Northern Virginia portion of the Commonwealth of Virginia, I should say. Our team is made up of about 16 registered apprenticeship consultants who work with companies to develop curriculum as well as on-the-job training competencies for occupations. And I think that's enough for right now.
I appreciate it, Crystal. We may be coming back to you for some questions. Verna, ICF is a global advisory and digital service provider headquartered right here in Northern Virginia. And you lead the Lead for IT program, which gets federal grants for companies to take advantage to support internships, apprenticeships, and upskilling their existing workforce. Can you tell us a little bit about the Lead for IT program?
Certainly, I'll be happy to. And thank you for allowing me to be a part of this panel discussion today. LEAD for IT is the acronym for Learning, Employment, and Economic Development for Information Technology, which kind of gives you an idea of what the grant is all about. Mike has asked me to talk about the funding, so I'm going to show you how the money works. And I'm going to begin with the end in mind. So the Lead for IT grant, coupled with other funding agencies, other WIOA agencies funding, together can equal to 100% of wage reimbursements to the employer while the individual is training. Lead for IT is a 4-year US Department of Labor grant with the focus in Virginia for year 1 and then nationwide thereafter. It's a talent management grant to help companies upskill and reskill employees in IT and cyber security. It's for nonprofit and for-profit companies. It's really employer-driven. Our goal is to work with businesses who have IT and cyber openings for individuals who want to work in those positions. The grant is not limited to IT and cyber companies. However, it is for IT and cyber positions within any company. You know, we realize it's hard to find candidates that have 100% of everything the employer demands, so we have found a way to mitigate the risks. We offer employees work-based learning options, which supports the community by adding staff capacity, productivity, and training at reduced cost, and in some cases, no cost at all to the employer for the training. The grant offers training reimbursements to employers for on-the-job training, internships, apprenticeships, and training to upskill your current workers as well. The reimbursements are from 50% to 90%, depending on the size of the company and which work-based learning option is chosen. The participants must be either unemployed or underemployed, and current employees will be upskilled. These are the criteria for the grant. The program is for veterans, transitioning service members, military spouses, college students, career changers, current employees, community college graduates, virtually anyone who's interested in training in the IT and cybersecurity field. So when it comes to on-the-job training, which is one of the options, it's a hire first program. The training is full-time, and the employer is reimbursed based on the number of the size of the company, anywhere from 50% to 90% of the wages during the training. Paid internships, they're more short-term, a little less than 3 months training, but it's reimbursed at 50% of the cost for that training as well. With apprenticeships, because they're very popular now, these are employer-driven. It combines the OJT, the on-the-job training portion, with job-related classroom instruction, where the employee learns practical and theoretical aspects of a highly skilled occupation. Therefore, their wages are progressively increasing, and they receive national portable credentials. The fees are reimbursed there up to 50% of the actual costs of the third-party administrators, plus up to 90% of the on-the-job training wage reimbursements. With incumbent worker training, it must be tied to a specific IT or cybersecurity credential. It's capped at 50% of the cost and up to, say, $1,000. And to qualify for incumbent worker training, the individual either gets promoted or utilizes the new skills in expanded responsibilities. So, you know, I've stated before that we leverage the funds with other agencies. So let me give you an example. I have a client, and this is a great success story. I have a client who works with us with the Lead for IT program. I'm working with the employer who's leveraging the Lead for IT funding with the funding from another stream between a Virginia Career Works program. They're maximizing their training costs for some of these, for their computer user specialist is the title. And they're receiving up to 640 hours of on-the-job training at 100% reimbursement between our two agencies, Lead for IT and the Virginia Career Works program. So we realize employers, you know, have a lot to do in running their businesses, which takes a lot of their time. Therefore, they're assigned an account manager, such as myself, and I assist them each step of the way, from developing the statement of work based on an assessment of their workforce needs to the contract. Then they select their employees. We determine their eligibility for the Lead for IT program. We help them develop work-based training plans, and we have processes in place for fast reimbursement. So this company originally forecasted for a small number of employees to train in the program. However, now that it's been very successful, they want to modify their contract so that they can hire and train even more employees in the IT and cyber field. So it's really been a win-win for them because they're receiving 100% reimbursement for some of their trainees, their employees. So this is a win-win for the employee because it allows them to be better skilled, leading to great career paths in IT and cybersecurity. And it's a win-win for the employer as well, because they will have a more skilled workforce at very reduced or no training cost. Investing in your workforce is one of the best retention strategies ever. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Verna. And just to be clear, this program can also be leveraged on top of the Virginia's Registered Apprenticeship Program, is that correct?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yes,
wonderful.
we partner quite often.
That's excellent. I look forward to working with you and connecting and getting more information on that.
Thank
I'd like
you.
to turn it over to Mary Claire and George Mason University. Can you give us a snapshot of the George Mason student body and how employers can tap into internships and employment opportunities with them?
I'd be happy to. Thank you, Marissa, and thank you everybody for being here today. We have 39,000 wonderfully diverse students studying at George Mason University. That is a big number. It surprises even me sometimes. And the thing that's important to remember for the employers on the line, those 39,000 students are all over the place, especially now when so much of school has pivoted to being both in person and online. So for employers that want to recruit, whether that be for internships, full-time jobs, it really is important to go to the Central Career Services office. That way we can offer you all of our services. What we do is we work with all of our campus partners, whether they be on the Arlington campus, the Manassas campus, or right here in Fairfax where I'm based. We help you navigate the big Mason systems. That way you can come out of it with the talent that you need. We will always start you with our handshake database. And I know everyone carries into their recruiting cycle, their recruiting world, feelings about online databases, but that's just step one. So if you work with us, get in handshake. From there, we create customized recruiting programs for any employer looking to hire Mason talent.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, when we talk about internships, we hear that a lot of interns struggle to find housing when they come to Northern Virginia. Does George Mason offer any options for summer interns?
We do. And the really good news is that they don't have to be Mason students to take advantage of our summer housing program. In fact, we have 2 residence halls open in the summer for intern housing. And the registration is open now. So for anybody that has an immediate need to house an intern, whether that be for their company or for their child, we have an option for you. There are 2 ways to go about it. For employers that want to take on the cost of housing summer interns, perhaps you want to look at it at a larger scale and you need like a block of rooms for a summer program. We have a point of entry for you. We also have a separate point of entry if the housing responsibility is on the intern, and we can work with them in a one-on-one case basis. Pricing varies depending on the accommodation that the intern chooses. We have suite setups and we have more traditional dormitory setups open in the summer, but we would be happy to work with you on that. Both are available. In pre-COVID times, there was a space was always readily available, but I'm being told that for employers that want to book a large amount of space, that are thinking about housing their summer program interns at George Mason, we'd love to talk to you sooner rather than later to make sure that we can accommodate your needs.
Excellent. And I'm sure that there are plenty of federal contractors on this call and have requirements for security clearances. I understand that George Mason has a course titled Clearance Ready Program. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how companies can engage with that pipeline of students?
Sure. This is a very popular offering at George Mason. What it is it's not so much a course, but a program that students can elect to participate in. It's open to any student at George Mason. We do see a high number of IT, computer science, and criminology students opting in to participate, but it is open to everybody. We have some health and science students in the pipeline as well. And it's an opportunity to educate students about how they can be prepared to obtain a security clearance. We're certainly not issuing them on our own. We go through cycles of courses, so that way students can learn perhaps behaviors to avoid, behaviors to remedy. We teach our students how to aid their security officers if they have potential international networks they may need to discuss. And we offer opportunities for employers to engage in the pipeline as well. In fact, many of these sessions are led by employer volunteers, because the students, while they love advice from us, don't get me wrong, they absolutely love to hear from our employers out in the community, especially the employers they'd love to one day be hired by. Because it's such a popular program, we plan early. We have about 1,400 students who have gone through the pipeline thus far, and we expect that number to grow. If you're an employer and you'd like to participate, know that we are planning for the fall, the upcoming fall 2022 semester this April. So what that looks like, again, is we would love to borrow your expertise to teach the students how they can best prepare to obtain a security clearance, and what it looks like out when they graduate and they enter the job market, and how they can use that clearance on site with you is the really, really valuable add. The students and the employers that participate, we pulled together special networking events exclusive just for those students and employers. So there's a real value to participating on both ends.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And I'd like to turn it over to Dana. Northern Virginia Community College has been a great partner to the business community. Can you also share the profile of the student body at NOVA and how employers can tap into this tech talent?
Sure, great, thank you. Hello to everyone all. Our NOVA's students really do reflect the region. 53% of our students are women, and 15% are Black African American, 15% are Hispanic, Latinx, and 18% are Asian. So a really great diverse population that we have at the college. And for the tech side, we have over 4,600 students enrolled in technology programs. That's just the technology programs. It's somewhere around 70,000 if you start counting all of the heads. And of those 4,600, we have a large number who are in our technology certification programs beyond the associate or the degree side. Those programs are top IT certification programs, include A+, Security Plus, and Network Plus. And then we also have programs like Linux Plus, AWS Cloud, AWS Solutions Architects. We're starting with an ethical hacker program, and we're starting a professional certified coder certification program. And these certifications are a way to get students into the workforce more quickly. And all of the ones I've mentioned, there are others, but these are all part of our Fast Forward programs. Fast Forward is an approved program, the state funding that pays down the cost of the program. So on average, if it were to cost a student about $2,800 to take one of these certification courses, Fast Forward pays that down to about $700, and the college has been utilizing much of its pandemic federal funding to pay that down even further. So for a student or a company who's looking to upskill or train their own employees, the cost of Fast Forward has now come down even further to be able to, we all want to maintain loyal employees, right? And I think, helping them upskill themselves and helping them with their educational benefits is probably going to be a plus these days. And in all of these programs, NOVA is helping employers to connect to these students as they graduate from these Fast Forward programs through our guaranteed interview program. And that program, companies are agreeing to meet and interview our students. We plan on setting this up for all of our non-degree programs. We'll set up a schedule, we'll get you online and meeting our students. And so that way, that talent pipeline, you've got a direct access to those students who are coming through all these tech and these technology certifications.
Excellent. Great. Thank you so much. And all of this information in connecting with all the programs we discussed on this panel will be available to the attendees in the end, as well as we will email it out. So information on George Mason, NOVA, and the Lead for IT program and the Virginia Apprenticeship program will be available. I do want to open it up for a couple of questions. And actually, I have a couple questions for Catherine Cruz.
Yes.
Hi, Catherine. A question for you. What percentage of the apprentice end up dropping out before completing the program?
I actually don't have the stat of the dropouts, but it is very low. But I'll have to get the specific stat on the dropout percentage.
Okay. And could you give some advice to an employer who is doing the apprenticeship program for the first time? Perhaps a small employer, maybe a small HR team. What would be the best advice you'd give them in starting out their first year?
Yeah, that's a great question. I do think whether you're small or large, I do think that that is a common question that we get asked is how do we get started and how do we do this so that we can make progress rather than mulling over all the various different components. So I think starting out small is a good idea, particularly if you don't have a well-defined strategy. And my recommendation is to select a couple roles that is top priority for your organization, whether that's through it's the highest demand that you have been struggling to fill, or it's particularly a critical role as part of a broader strategy that you have, whether it's looking to grow a certain area, capability, you have a really important initiative, and this is a particular role that's really important to grow that pipeline of skills coming up. So I think just thinking through where those priority areas are and starting with that, learning from that, and then adding a couple more roles as you learn what's working well, the feedback from the apprentice program, the learning opportunities, the mentorship program, like any feedback that you learn from that small pilot, and then scaling it from there.
And how much internal resources do you need to kind of set that program up and be successful?
Yeah, that's a great question. I do think that there definitely is some upfront work that needs to be done, typically led by the HR team in coordination with the business on the need, the role, the volume, and plugging into existing programs that you have is going to be really helpful. So you're not creating new things from scratch. So if you already have an existing development program within your organization, then plugging into that allows you to not have to recreate the wheel. But one thing that is really important as part of this apprenticeship program is the ability to have a mentor. So I think that's also requires some type of setup to figure out who's the best mentor for this apprentice coming in. So I do think that there is a couple hours of upfront, and it really does depend on how much of these existing programs you can existingly plug into, or just leveraging it for this program.
Excellent, thank you. I have a question for Mary Claire. Can you confirm the place where employers go to seek out interns at George Mason?
Sure. So I'll put a link in the chat if that's okay. The website is careers@gmu.edu. And I believe my email address will be shared after the session today. But I would love to help get you to the exact right person in my office to help with your talent recruitment. It's possible that many of you already have accounts in our Handshake database, which is step one all the time. And if that's the case, then you're halfway there, and I just have to get you to the right person. But if you go to careers@gmu.edu, it gives you a great overview of the kinds of things we can offer, the events we have coming up, things you could plug into, and we can get you started along the way.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Mike, is there any other questions?
I can jump in and answer or walk through a number of the other questions. I think before I get to some that I can address, the one that I see here would be someone having Catherine Smith noting that she has a small tech business. It has never implemented an internship program before. So, what are your suggestions for first steps? Maybe Verna, that might be good for you to answer. I know you have the resource programming to help get started with internships, so maybe you could answer that. If not, if anyone, Crystal or others want to chime in, but I know you guys have a program from the Lead for IT program.
Yeah, yes, we do. If you would like to start the internship program, I can meet with you and give you the details. However, initially just assessing what you want the individuals to learn and obtain, along with the credentials that are needed, and we could put a program together for the interns on the length of the internship, how many hours of training is necessary, and then we work on the reimbursement parts as well. Thank you.
Great. I see a question on distinguishing between internship and apprenticeship. So someone that, I know you had your hand up, Crystal, maybe you could follow up. Last question, answer that one.
Of course, I will answer that one. But to answer the original question about retention that was asked to Ms. Cruz, we've had about 120 registered apprenticeships in IT over the past 3 years. And I just would like to say it has been a less than 10% dropout rate, meaning that they have completed the process, received their credentials, and are either on track to complete in the next year to 90 days to a year. So one of the programs that we work through with Nova is the alarm.com program, and they've had a 98% completion rate. A small tech company in Arlington had a 100% completion rate, and Nova is on track to have alarm.com as well as SmoothStack are both on track to have a 98% completion rate at this point also. So just wanted to share that. The difference between a registered apprenticeship and an internship. A registered apprenticeship is you actually are working a job. So you are getting paid. There is, you are receiving actual job assignments to work, where interns, sometimes they are not receiving the full-fledged work that needs to be done. All internships are not paid. There's that mentor-mentee relationship where the mentor is helping the apprentice learn what needs to be done for them to be competent. And in Virginia, a registered apprenticeship must be 1 year by minimum standards laid out by the General Assembly. We do have competency-based apprenticeships if someone wants to put one together. We work through that with them, but all apprenticeships are based on the role that the actual competent mentor would be working with the apprentice on and things like that. We also have funding. Right now, we are in the middle of our craft grant. We are hoping it gets extended. We received that funding in 2019 prior to COVID. And of course, you know, COVID did not allow for us to spend a lot of that funding. We are offering $1,000+ per apprentice that any company registers, regardless of if it's in the IT industry. Every employee that is registered can receive every apprentice, that is registered, a company can receive $1,000 for each employee. So some people have received checks up to $23,000 at this point, and those were IT companies that received that information, that dollar amount. So as Verna shared, we've been working alongside with them to share that funding resource. Additionally, when starting a program, just want to share, ICF has been a godsend for us in regards to working partnering. A lot of times companies do not know where to start. We have a starting point. Our team is here to help you develop a on-the-job training plan, but the two of us have worked together to help a company get started. So just wanted to share those things.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Well, great. Well, I can touch on the remaining questions here. So we maybe will end the panel discussion, and let me just thank you, Marissa, for being the moderator, and for the panelists. Great discussion here. And what I'm going to do now is go ahead and answer some of these questions that sort of leads us to, if we can bring the slides back up. Thank you all for participating. Amazing insight and information here. So let me touch on the questions that sort of takes us to this next phase of closing out the session here. The first one was, is there a link for Lead for IT? Yes, I'm going to show it here on how you can get to all of these services through workinnorthernvirginia.com. The next question was around, let me see, getting a recorded link. We're going to record this session, and it's being recorded, and we will post it on this site, workinnorthernvirginia.com, under the employer resources section. And I see Emmanuel's on here too, who's an actual student, and we're glad to see a student on here. I'll just say for Emmanuel, you can go to find a job on this workinnorthernvirginia.com site, and all 140,000 plus jobs that our companies that are on this call have posted are on this site. You can search by company name or by key search word. And for those looking for internships, if it's an internship Emmanuel or anyone else on the call is looking for, you can type in the word intern. And right now, I think there's a few thousand internships available through our organizations here in the region. So great information here that we've heard today. Let me just close out by walking you through quickly a site that we launched about 2 years ago, workinnorthernvirginia.com. This was in partnership with the Northern Virginia Economic Development Alliance. So this is not just Fairfax County. This is with Loudoun County, Prince William, Fauquier, Arlington, Alexandria, and the municipalities incorporated within. So we launched this about 2 years ago, and it's averaging about 30,000 views per month because we're investing in digital advertising to strategic cities around the nation. So I know a lot of us are poaching from each other right now. So we're trying to bring more talent here from veterans that are transitioning out of the military and their spouses, as well as mid-career workers in strategic cities and those coming recent college grads. So jobs can be found on workinnorthernvirginia.com. But let me touch now on this on employer resources page. You see there right on the home page, you can click on. Let's go to the next slide. Let me just give you a couple of examples of where you go find what we just talked through and a lot more. So under that employer resources page, tech talent funnel. So this is where you'll find multiple tech talent enablement solutions with over 50 certifications, technology certifications, and business models to choose from. Lots of great organizations and resources here that can provide talent for you immediately, and then partner with some organizations through some certification programs. Next example would be apprenticeships. And that's where the question was asked, where you find information around Lead for IT right here. Apprenticeships, scroll down on that section, you'll see the Lead for IT, and you'll be able to go get to Verna and that team. Information on the Greater Washington Apprenticeship Network. You see here the Department of Labor with Crystal's group here. So this is where you go to find and get to all the folks that we had on the panel. Next example is internships in college and university. So this is where Mary Claire, the link to George Mason University's site for their career services, where you go find the interns and programming from George Mason. Same for Northern Virginia Community College. You see the link right there, affordable summer intern housing. That's where you can send your interns or reach out to them on developing something that's strategic for you on a larger scale. And then the last example I'll show on the next slide is around mentoring at the high school level. We have a number of STEM schools in the region that offer you the opportunity to mentor and teach students and really build your pipeline for internships and apprenticeships through these at an early stage while they're in high school. I visited a STEM academy just recently and met a young man who had 11 certifications already. AWS, Microsoft, Cisco, Oracle. So there's some really great talent you can start to engage early, even at the high school level. So with that, let's go ahead and close out our session today. And let me bring on Greg Hampton. He's the Senior Director of Member Experience with Northern Virginia Technology Council. And he's also the staff member aligned to our Filling the Tech Talent Gap community. And Greg's going to help me close out our calls to action. So let's go to the next slide here, and I will ask Greg to chime in.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Mike, and good afternoon, everybody. First, I want to thank the panel and everybody that provided, I think, some very good information and resources to hopefully give all the participants, I think, which was roughly about 40% that haven't made that decision yet to move forward with an internship program yet this year, to really give some pause to think about it. You know, at NVTC, we're committed to infusing the next generation into our talent pipeline. And certainly your company's participation is a valuable resource in that mix to help us do that. I'm also excited to let everybody know that for our NVTC member companies in April, we are planning to help promote internship programs through NVTC social media channels. So my ask certainly to everybody is first and foremost to those that haven't firmed up that commitment to internships this year, to speak to your leadership, give some thought about it. Hopefully there's still an opportunity to do it this year. If not, please include it for next year. Also to reach out, and for those that are offering internship programs, please email the information to me. So for our member companies, that we can help to promote it. Certainly for companies that are not currently NVTC members, also please, I welcome you to reach out. Would be happy to discuss membership opportunities. Also, we are going to be hosting our first intern student networking event on June 23rd. So also I'll ask for the intern coordinator or intern contact. Please email me their information, and so that I can include that, and we can make sure that everybody is receiving the information. So I want to thank the team and everybody here that participated today, and I'll turn it back over to you, Mike.
Thanks, Greg. So last couple of thoughts would be, for those of you out looking to recruit veterans, military spouses, we're hosting a virtual career fair May 12th. So we'll have opportunity for you to have a virtual career fair through our virtual career fair booth through Brazen. We'll have 500 plus veterans, military spouses for you to chat with and fill your pipeline. So reach out to me with request to participate in that May 12th. There's no cost. That's an investment by us for you. And lastly, attend our next Filling the Tech Talent Gap Community of Interest meeting on May 19th. So put that on your calendar from 3 to 4, and we'll provide some more valuable information to you. So I'll close with the next slide, which is basically just engage us. You've heard from myself, from Marissa, and then we also have another Vice Chair, Brent D'Agostino, who is with AHT Insurance. He's really an expert in employee benefits. So please engage us. Let us know how we can help you further. And we really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us today, and hope you have a good afternoon.